You're watching Pulse for the 13th of October, and it's time for some StarCraft news. In this week's episode, we take a look at yet another teased unit, this time for the Zerg. The ladders are in fact now locked and Season 3 is coming to an end. The usual tournament and event updates with a bit of GSL, IPL and MLG talk. WhiteRa's new Protoss only team and more. Let's get started. In what is no doubt the biggest news of this past week, Blizzard have teased us yet again with another silhouette, this time for a Zerg unit. Now there has, as with the previous one, been a lot of talk about what role this will fulfill on the battlefield. Many websites have polls up, a lot of people have set up their own variations of what this could be, and I'll show them to you in just a second. Team Liquid's post about this and their poll is probably the most reliable one to look at. Keep in mind, this is all speculation and no one really knows what it is, but I suppose that's the fun in it. Now, the guys over at Team Liquid think, well, at least 62% of them think that this is a siege unit. There was also a vote about what this unit does. The top voted was a Roach Mutation siege unit, and second, by only 1%, a burrowing attacking unit, like the Lurker was in Brood War. What do you guys think? I would say, given the sheer bulk of this unit, that it is most likely something like a siege unit, but we can't be sure. That is the one thing that the Zerg are lacking at the moment. I'm obviously not counting the extremely expensive and difficult to get into play Broodlords. So there were a couple of fan-created pieces that, in my opinion, do look pretty good. The one on your screens right now is probably the most likely. If you don't quite understand it, it's sort of like a Baneling or Acid Launcher. I think it could work. Now keep in mind that these guys aren't artists, they're just speculating and having some fun. So you can read more about this unit below and be sure to let me know what you think it is. What do you think the Zerg are lacking, and do you think Blizzard will be giving it to them with this unit? We'll have to wait and see. Now just a quick mention, Season 3 is officially locked. Season 4 will be started during the week of October the 24th. And you gotta keep in mind, beginning with Season 4, there are two changes coming to the future ladder seasons. Each ladder season will now only last for approximately 2 months, and Grandmaster League placement time will be reduced to 1 week. That's down from 2 weeks, and this is obviously to account for the reduced season length. Right now you can't be promoted or demoted from your current divisions, but you can still work your way up, and then when you play your placement match in the next season, you might well get promoted, or demoted. You'll have to wait and see. If you're interested, you can read more about the Season 3 ladder lock below. But now let's move on to the tournament and event news. We start in the tournament and event news off with the GSL updates, and, well, the Code A finals. Curious faced off against Oz, aka Twilight, and, well, it wasn't pretty for our Protoss player Oz. Curious took him down with a score of 4-0 and secured his own spot in Code S. He also made a bit of money as well. So, you can check those full results below, obviously courtesy of Team Liquid, and if you're interested you can check out an interview with our new Code A champion as well. Now for the Code S. The semi-finals are looking decidedly Terran. We've got MVP, Gunzi, MMA and Happy, all 4 of which are Terran players. Both Koka and Nesty were knocked out in the round of 8. MVP took down Nesty with a score of 3-2 and Happy took down Koka with a score of 3-0. So that is pretty sad, while at the same time I gotta say that those are some really good players up there. If you're keen to catch the semi-finals live, they're happening on October the 14th, and if you absolutely can't wait for the finals, although we don't know who's going to be playing in them yet, they're happening live at BlizzCon on the weekend of October the 22nd. Now in the last of our GSL results of sorts, we've got the October up and down groups. Group A, B and C can be seen on your screens right now. I'm not going to go over every single player in every single group, but if you want to know when the games are happening, they'll be on October the 18th, 19th and 20th. Now in our GSL extras, firstly we've got Tastosis describing Nesty.
Nesty is so good.
He's really good, man.
It's like, I feel like I'm doing him a disservice by calling him so good, because there's like gotta be like new words. There's got to be like a new language. Like, I feel like English is supposed to be the most powerful language because we have the most words and like the most ways to describe anything, the most adjectives and stuff. But I feel like I need to meet an alien race that's been around for like 50 billion years, and
it's
maybe
like
they'll have the vocabulary.
Like, describe it is like, I don't know. It's like that's how you describe it.
And if that wasn't enough, Have a look at this. Yes, even more Nesty.
Look at this.
Okay,
Look
all
at
right, here,
this.
he's coming.
Nesty.
All right, now he needs to land. He needs to land that. He needs to land that.
He's not going to, man. He is absolutely. He has no idea.
Oh my God!
Oh ho ho! What is up? I'm
This is
Nesty!
actually insane.
It's pretty sad that Nesty didn't make it through to the semi-finals. Him and Coca were our last Zerg hopes. So you can check those videos right here on YouTube and enjoy. Next up in the tournament and event news, we've got the IPL3 results. Yes, it did happen over this past weekend and it was incredibly exciting. If you don't like spoilers, you better skip ahead to the next part because I'm about to reveal the winner. The French player Stefano managed to take down Lucky in the finals with a score of 4-0. That was in fact a Zerg vs Zerg and Stefano had a pretty amazing run to the finals. He took down players such as Kiwi Kaki, Violet, Inori, the STC, and then, as I said, finally Lucky. So if you want to read about Stefano's run to the finals or any of the other players in the championship brackets, you're going to have to check the links below for that. There are a couple of extras that came with this though. The guys over at ESFI World did some amazing coverage on the event and you can see their highlight video on your screens right now. Yes, that is in fact what you've been watching. You can check out an interview with Megumi X-Bear. You can have a look at some of the player panels that happened over the weekend. You can see some photos. You can see the Korean netizen reactions to the finals. And lastly, you can have a look at the SC Center that was in fact done live at the event. Yes, this weekend was an absolute treat for all StarCraft 2 fans. There are a lot of links below that you can have a look at, so take your time and enjoy the content. Now for a semi-quick talk about MLG Orlando. It is in fact happening this very weekend, the 14th till the 16th of October, and below you can read about the 10 casters and 4 streams that the MLG guys have set up. You can check the full open bracket player list, you can have a look at the groups that have already been set up, and everything else. I have no doubt that this weekend, with MLG Orlando and Polar Fluke happening, is going to be an amazing StarCraft 2 adventure. Can I call it that? I suppose so. I will give you guys a couple of links below where you'll be able to find live coverage of the event, so get ready for this weekend, get ready for MLG Orlando. Now time for the tournament and event smalls. Fruit Dealer and Top have completed the IEM New York lineup. You can check a NASL Week 3 and 4 recap over at Team Liquid. You can read about the ESWC 2011 Grand Finals. That's pretty much just the player list for that. And lastly, have a look what's going on in the 12th Korean Weekly Cup. Now for the only real, or I suppose really interesting piece of community news for the past week. The Ukrainian fan favorite Protoss player WhiteRa's has decided to start up his own team. And very interestingly, this team only contains Protoss players so far. The team consists of 5 players at the moment, and one that you might know is the former Warcraft 3 player Nightwolf. The other players are as of yet unknown, and the team's name? WhiteRa's Team, or in short WRT. We have been told that the team is planning on being active and entering team leagues and the likes, but we haven't heard very much else. It remains to be seen if this team is going to stay Protoss only. I very much doubt it, but you never know. So if you're interested in the WhiteRa's team, you can read more about it below. Now before heading into the smalls, a Reddit user was kind enough to share his entire collection of StarCraft 2 images and wallpapers. There are a couple of really cool ones here, and I urge you all to have a look at it because, well, there are a bunch of Korean babes, some beautified league symbols, and much more. They all look much better in full size though, so be sure to check them out below. Now time for the community smalls. First up, over at the official site, food, drinks, StarCraft 2. Yes, have a look at that post. It is about the Barcraft events happening all around the world. You can have a look at the latest custom map spotlight. You can read about the 2011 Halloween pumpkin carving contest. Can StarCraft really make it as a sport? That's a pretty interesting post over at Team Liquid. And another interesting post, the effect that Husky and HD had on StarCraft 2. You can read how Destiny has joined Quantic Gaming, that's the team that Sase joined last week, and you can check out a podcast from the very same team. Bjorn has joined Team Prime, DJ Wheat and 2GD have joined up with Twitch TV. DJ Wheat will now act as their esports manager, while 2GD will head up Twitch TV's presence in Europe. So yes, for all the DJ Wheat fans out there, he is in fact back in esports full time. You can read more about that below. Have a look at The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past in StarCraft 2. Then some art titled StarCraft Prude War. And lastly, have a look at Husky's roommate's sexy Halloween costume. If you're wondering, it is in fact a supply depot costume. Yes, well worth checking out, and it's right here on YouTube. Sadly, that's all I have for you in the StarCraft news this week. Remember to check the links below for everything that I spoke about, and be sure to catch MLG live this coming weekend. Like the video, favorite it, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Most importantly though, happy StarCrafting.